Brendan, how's the squad looking heading into this game?
Yeah, looking good, obviously, on the back of getting to the final. So we've had good recovery, good preparation, and now nearly all set for the weekend.
How's Dyson Maeda? Is his recovery looking a quicker timeline than you'd expected?
Yeah, I think I mentioned it here before a few weeks back. The information that we were given was that he was probably going to be out for probably the remainder of the season. We felt that, but he's responded so well. He's obviously gone away and had further scans and ultrasound, and he's out on the pitch, and you would think he was never been away. So I just don't think he'll be for this weekend, but he'll finish off his rehab beginning next week, and fingers crossed then he'll play some part then between now and the end of the season, which is fantastic news for us, because he's been consistently really, really good for us this season, and to have him back and his intensity would be a fantastic boost for us.
Is that quite remarkable, just at the speed that he seems to have recovered that?
Yeah, I was speaking to Tim, our head of our medical team, this morning, and he said he's, in his time here, it never fails to amaze him in terms of his recovery and just his overall physicality. So he's getting nothing from the tendon issue that he felt after the game. So which is great news, but there's still a few more steps to go through, and but that would be great news for us.
I suppose at this time of the season as well, you can never have too many options.
Yeah, no, you want to have as many as you possibly can. So having him back would that would really create a really strong squad for us.
I'm sure there'll have been a good feeling after the result last weekend. Is it about just carrying that onto this weekend, or is it just a refocus back into league action?
Yeah, I think it was a really good feeling to get through. The standard of our performance wasn't what I would have liked, but there's some times in life it's really important to overcome situations, and obviously we achieved the goal, which was to get to the final, but we also had to overcome lots within the game. So the players done absolutely brilliant to get through that and show that nerve and mindset right at the very end. And now we see ourselves in the final, which is great. But now we've got to shift the mindset now onto the league, and that's where our concentration is.
The big moments of the season, the mentality of the players will really come into that, and I'm guessing you saw a lot of that at the weekend. That'll be promising for the weeks ahead. Yeah,
I think this is the period where you got to get your trophy head on, and you get your focus on what it takes to become a champion. And the players here are well versed in that. They understand the mindset, they understand the psychological traits that's needed at this stage. Physically, you've done a lot of your work. Yeah, you might have one or two players that may be looking to get back in or up to speed, but in the main, it's all psychological now, and this is the part of the season where this team have been very, very good, and this club have been exceptional. So, but you have to do it, and that'll be our focus each game at a time now, starting at Dundee.
Does the Dens Park pitch come into your thoughts when you're preparing for this game? Obviously it's been dry, but there were areas of, without a lot of grass, a bit of sand in there as well. Does that have to come into your focus when you're...
Not really, no. I watched some of the Rangers game. I actually thought that needed a bit of water on there, to be fair. But it doesn't. I have to say, in all the time over two spells, I've been to Dundee. The pitch has always been in a really, really good place. I did go up there earlier in the season to see Cammy Kerr's testimonial game. I think it was around about September time, and I was a little bit slippy at that point, and that was in September. So, or it was certainly early on in the season. But no, I don't have any worries about it. The weather's been good, and I'm sure it needs a little bit of water. They can stick that on there.
You talk about, Brendan, it's the time of the season to get the trophy head on. Probably nobody would embody that more than James Forrest at this club. How important is his influence at this time of the season, especially?
Very, very important. I think that he's a certified winner. He knows what it takes, and having someone of him and his ability and just stature around the team is very important at this stage. So I think you've seen it in a number of the cameos he's produced recently. He didn't get so much game time in parts of this season that maybe he felt he maybe deserved. We were giving other players a chance that were brought in. But the longer it goes on, you see really his qualities and what he brings to the team, and I think that his mindset, as well as what he brings to the pitch and that calmness, as well as the quality, that'll be really important for us.
Yeah, there's been times, you've seen it at loads of clubs in the past, where a senior experienced player, they maybe don't get the game time that they want. They fall out of things, they maybe start losing interest. But I guess nothing, that could be the polar opposite of what's happened to him.
Yeah, remarkable professional. From the first time I met him here, back in 2016. I know there's some noises around him, maybe moving or going, but I never felt that at all. And his professionalism, his focus, is absolutely phenomenal. How he looks after his body, how he prepares himself, it's never wavered. And like I say, there's probably times this season where he's maybe felt that he should have played more. Maybe I should have maybe played him more. I don't know, but what I know is that I was never ever going to rule him out, because I know what he gave me in my first time here, and then the spells this time when he's played, he's been absolutely brilliant. So he'll be an instrumental figure for us, whether it's on the pitch or off the pitch, over these closing weeks.
Does his kind of understated nature, James, almost like not go against him, but do you think it'll only be in the future when people will look back and realise just how, some of the comments you just said, the sort of certified winner type of thing?
Yeah, I think so, and normally is you normally are judged once you move on. You're sometimes judged harshly when you're still in post, but I think if you look at the longevity of his career, to have played here through the many players that's been here. You think of the wingers that have come into this club over the years that he's been here. For him still to have been the stalwart and a really important player, and even now at this stage in the latter part of his career, still to be that influence. I think people were surprised when I mentioned about him being the best winger here a number of weeks back, but I think you see now what I was meaning is that how he looks after the ball, how he takes care of the ball, his game understanding, how he protects it. He's one of the best wingers I've ever worked with at receiving the ball so close to the line, under pressure, because he very loses it. He can create goals, he can score goals. I think that now the challenge for any player as they grow older is the intensity of which the modern game is played, and especially in a team and where intensity is the demand, and that's how this team works and how my teams have always worked. So, but that doesn't take away the contribution that he can have, whether that's to start a game or come into a game. And I see it every day in training. He's an absolutely brilliant player, has been over many years for the club, and someone who I know will really be important for us to the end of the season now.
Another huge player in Callum McGregor. How's he getting on at the moment? Do you think he's shaping up to be able to play a full 90 minutes?
Yeah, well, he's certainly getting there. I think that, again, the plan with Callum wasn't to chuck him in. We know how important he is, but you have to also look after him as well, and manage his minutes, and that's what we've been looking at doing, from introducing him 20 odd minutes and a bit longer, and then 60 minutes at Hampden. So he's looking like he's getting up to speed. He was out for a long time, virtually before the Rangers game, where he just come in and only had a couple of days training. So he done so well to even make that game, to now just build him back up, and I see him every day in training, and he's looking much sharper, much brighter, and so his fitness is coming along really well.
What are you expecting from Dundee? Do you think they'll play with a bit more freedom, given their good result against Rangers last week?
Listen, I think they've had good results right the way through the season. I think Tony's done a brilliant job, him and his staff. There'll be stronger squads, I'm sure, in the league that will feel that they could have made the top six. But I think the likes of of Tony, what he's done, you know, what the likes of Stephen Robinson has done at St Mirren, Derek Kilmarnock, they've really shown their coaching and managerial qualities. And in particular, Tony coming through in his first season in the Premiership as a manager, the job he's done is absolutely brilliant. So I expect them to play how they've played all season, which is with a collective spirit, work very, very hard for each other, and give any team a problem. We've played really well against Dundee this season, but it's no guarantee of anything. It only guarantees that we have to be focused, and if we have that focus and mentality and show the ambition in the game from the first whistle, then it gives us an opportunity to get the 3 points.
Brendan, you mentioned psychology earlier on and the importance of it at this time of year, and it's something you've obviously been focused on for your career as a manager. At this point in time, do you do extra work on that side of the game, where you brought in external help like sports psychologists and that kind of stuff? Are you doing that just now, or is it always in the background? Or
yeah, no, it's always in the background. It's more just sometimes it's the body language that you're portraying and the words that you're using with players. I just think at this period of time, it's very, very important, that aspect. You know, the psychology of football is always there, but in particular this stage of the season, it's just making sure the players are calm but prepared, and they have clarity around their job. So no, nobody external or anything like that. Just a calmness around the environment.
Just in a similar vein then, Brendan, you've got a situation at hand in there on Saturday, 120 minutes of football, real pressure, getting into the penalty kicks. What's the message to the players in the short moments before the penalties, and more generally with the pressure of the running you now face?
Don't let your kit man near them. Stevie got a wee bit of a blast from me, didn't he? Bless him. He's a good guy, Stevie, right? He's Celtic daft, he's Celtic mad. But you got to know your place. So, but no, I think that you've, like at that moment, you obviously the work was prepared in terms of who was going to be taking the penalties. So we virtually knew as soon as the whistle went, the players that were on the pitch, then what the order would be. And like I say, everything else that had gone on before, because we'd had to come from behind, and then we've had disappointments of being in front and conceding equalisers. So that could really, you know, affect your mentality. But that's gone. That's, don't worry about that. Now we've got to focus in on the opportunity to get to the final, which has been clear, and stay committed to what your plan was over the previous couple of days, and commit to that penalty. And the players did that brilliant. You know, the level of penalties, I know we've missed some this year, but actually the quality of those penalties was very, very good.
Still on the psychology point, I know you've praised James Forrest there, but for the younger players to see, you know, I know that really big on vying for, you know, competition for places at Celtic, a hugely talented squad. For the younger players or the guys who have been here maybe a little less time, to see someone like James come in with, you know, limited minutes under his belt this season and see the level of performance that he's pushing for, psychologically that must be great for the younger players or the players who haven't been here for as long.
Yeah, I think it also lets them see that there'll always be an opportunity with me here, and that I look closely at training, I observe training. I take it very seriously. I'm not the type of coach where you can just turn up every day and do what you want, but you'll still play on a Saturday because you're a good player. It's what you're doing on the training field, and for young players, he's an absolute fantastic role model, James. Like I said, the younger guys will see how he prepares, how humble he is, how he looks after his body, and that's why he's had the career that he's had, and why it allows him at this stage of the season to, like I say, to come alive. This is what the top players will do. So yeah, he's absolutely brilliant for us, has been over many years, and I'm just so happy that he's at this stage of the season, he's still looking very strong.
Against those lack of minutes that James has had, his decision making when manipulating the space seems to be, you know, unparalleled at Celtic. He seems to always know when to come in to let the overlap in the fullback, to come inside an inside channel to create chances, as we saw on Saturday. Given that match fitness, you know, for obvious reasons, isn't right up there this season,
How do you feel about that particular part of his game where it just seems second nature to him, and he's so consistent with those decisions that he makes moment to moment?
Yeah, it's something that I've always been impressed with. Like when I came here the first time, and when I left and went to the Premier League, I had no qualms about saying to people he's arguably the best player that I've worked with receiving the ball on the touchline. How he takes the ball, his body shape, how he feints when he receives it, whether that's on the right side or the left side. And that's something that our younger wingers can learn from, because you need players of that quality that allows you to keep the ball in those areas of the pitch. Like if you look at some of the goals we gave away last week was from creative players giving the ball away, you know, and giving over possession. When you have the talented players, they have a love of the ball, they keep the ball, and that allows your team to move up the pitch, and none more so than your defenders, because they get relief. Your attacking players, the more they can penetrate, the more they can look after the ball, it allows them to get up the field. So from a tactical perspective, from an individual perspective in him, he's I always say to the young players, if you watch how he looks after the ball, how he takes the ball, his decision making, as you say, when to be in, you know, we play with wingers outside, but when you're right footed playing on the left, at times you want to come in to create the space, and he does all of that absolutely magnificently well. And as I said, I'm lucky I get the chance to see it every day.